Yeah, so thank you all for joining us for a special edition of Stefan Clark Sunday Conversations with Mr. Clark. On the line, I have the owner of Queen Sheba Ethiopian restaurant, Zion Tedesse. I also have my brother in the movement, one of our front line foot soldiers, one of the generals in this movement, just a genuine brother for the community. He has many names and many titles, but we call him Coon the Poet, and he's my brother in arms, and he's also our brother in the movement. And so I got my two special guests here, and I'm so grateful and glad to have you guys. But before we start with the conversation for Stefan Clark Sunday, I want to let you guys take this time to introduce yourselves, make your own introductions, and then speak about anything that you have coming up or you want to let anybody know right before we start this conversation. Starting with Zion, ladies first. Would you like to take the floor, Zion?
Yes, so my name is Dion Tadesse, the owner of Queen Sheba Restaurant, also the founder of Broadway International Festival, the founder of Sheba Farm Foundation, and also the founder of Shashamane Land LLC.
Okay, thank you for that, Zion. And next up is you, Coon, my brother Coon the Poet.
Yeah, so Chris Coon, best known as Brother Coon, best known as Coon the Poet. I am founder and CEO of Wear Your Heart Incorporated, as well as CEO and owner of Coon the Poet LLC, founder of the Pain and Power Poetry Program, and spearhead of the Wear Your Heart movement as well.
Yes, thank you for that, brother Coon. Thank you for that, brother Coon. Wear Your Heart movement. And so we got the Broadway International Festival coming up September 4th. And for all our people that want to sign up as vendors for this upcoming event for September 4th, 2022, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., please email shebafarms2.0@gmail.com. Please send them an email on how you could join the movement and not the moment, because we need the support. We really do. Zion,
Yes.
for the Broadway International Festival, what can the people expect?
So for that festival, which is going to be next Sunday, September 4, it's a Labor Day weekend. So for people to come 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., we'll be having two stages, one bigger stage, international stage, where we're going to have music from all over the world. And also we're going to have a cultural stage, the smallest stage, where we actually highlighting the local artists, poets, musicians, artists, and all that. So we want to highlight the local artists who's been working, in the local industry here. Also, we're going to have a kids zone where people can actually feel comfortable to live them while they doing a lot of activity and networking with each other. Family and parents can have fun. We're also going to have a health and wellness fair. You know how I feel about when it comes to health and wellness. That is really the core of what I do. So we have that. We have a networking space where we can actually connect and network. So we can actually share information with each other. So we're gonna have that side too. So we have a lot of activity that people can be participating. Obviously, we're gonna have food. We have over 20 restaurants on Broadway serving food from all walks of life, and that's going to be part of the Broadway International Festival. Of course, Queen Sheba also in the heart of Broadway. We've been serving food for the past 18 years, so we'll be opening our door also that day. So we have a lot of good stuff going on that day.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. So I'm excited for it because this is a free event, and a lot of times people make excuses on why they can't go to certain places or why they can't be places because they can't afford it. And I understand that to be true on some levels, but this is a free event. It's a family event. It's entertainment. There's going to be music. There's going to be a health and wellness. There's going to be a free kids zone. There's going to be food. There's going to be a water station. There's going to be COVID resources. I love the fact that what we are doing is not just for us. It's not just for business owners. It's not just for people in power, elected officials. This is for the community. This is what I mean when we say unity in the community. unity in the community doesn't has to be a thing where it's just a unity in the community. The Broadway International Festival, I believe, is a unity in the community type of event because it brings people together from all different ethnicities, backgrounds, cultures, races, just geographical locale, on not some levels, but all levels. So thank you, Zion, for that. I'm gonna switch over to my brother Cool Nepal real quick to get our king in there, our young God in there. Talk to him a little bit about the roles and responsibilities of brothers like us in our community, but also what are the roles and responsibilities when it comes to the community to us. JFK said this. He says, it's not what your country could do for you, but it's what you can do for your country. So it's not what we can do for our community. We've been doing the work for our community tirelessly. We kept doing it. But now, as community advocates, as community speakers, as community people out there with the people, what do we need when it comes to support from our community so that way we can continue to do the work that we're doing? Because this work is not sexy. This work is not fun. This work does not get you popular and likes and jewelry and all that stuff. The work we do is not a sexy job. It's not something that people are just signing up to do. So to get people involved into this work that we do, to get people to understand that we need the community support, we need the village support, that we don't make large amounts of money for the supports that we give these communities. We're doing this out of the kindness of our heart, really, and the fact that we want to see this killing prevented. We want to see some type of community restoration, some community justice, and some accountability on not some levels but all levels. But can you speak on the importance of the community also supporting their community advocates and why we need that and why is that all-time high?
Into the topic because it's not an easy topic to talk about. Like a lot of us don't want to talk. We don't want to talk about money. We're afraid to talk about money. We're afraid to really talk about support, and we're afraid to be called out, right? And so, what I in this season, what I will be doing though is having real conversations on accountability, and I'll start by really breaking it down. You see, and let's just remove all the government, all the technology. Let's go take us back to the state of nature. Let's take us back to the motherland, if you will. Let's take us back to places where we would have those that would travel around villages, um, preserving culture, right? Whether they did it by the way of telling stories, whether they did it by the way of bringing medicine and healing and herbs. These individuals, if you were to ask them how do they survive, they would tell you the people looked out for us as we took care of the people. And so with that, it's important without getting into the hard conversation and in your face and saying, hey, you're not providing resources for those that's providing resources, or you're not looking out for us. It's really just about understanding like, yo, it is responsibility costs. One of my babies who I was working with the other day, she's so smart. She's like 8 years old and so bright, so intelligent. And I actually recorded her saying responsibility costs with her little attitude and sassiness, but so serious and intentional about it. And then to the point to where it calls for me to really look at like, what does that mean? Like every time that you take it upon yourself to be responsible for something, you are also it's costing something, it's giving something. So if I'm taking responsibility for somebody else's child, whether it's a few hours throughout my day, or whether I'm taking responsibility for somebody else's issue, right? If I'm pulling up, providing a service or support for somebody who's going through a crisis, or if I'm even pulling up into a classroom, it's costing gas, it's costing something. And the reality is part of our imbalance and the lack that we are living in as a people is because of the lack of consideration. To be honest with you, a lot of times we just don't. We're so inside self only. A lot of us, right? It's selfishness that causes for things to happen. If just using an example, if a parent decides to only think about self and wants to get that high, and a child goes without food or clothes or whatever, that child suffering, but not just that child, the household is now in balance. right? Based on that one person's choice to be selfish. Now, there's a lot of systemic things that are playing a part in those kind of situations. But I believe that the solution is genuinely like, yo, empathy, getting outside of yourself and really connecting with like, yo, how can I may not be able to support everybody, but how can I support somebody who's doing the work? How can I not just focus on my my 9 to 5 daily grind, but how can I support a supporter? And so I really want to just be intentional about that. Like, yo, because the fact that a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, a year ago, a week ago, I was having a conversation with another artist, another community servant who was also, I slept in my car that night, but he was sleeping in his car for a month. And that's a problem. I think one of the greatest injustices is that those who are holding up roofs over the heads of a lot of our people in our community are going without. And it's just being a thing that is okay, especially when there's those who have water fountains in their front yard or in the front of their corporate buildings. And I'm not calling nobody out. I'm just being honest, y'all. If I'll use the example of a lot of orange tree. If there's a bunch of oranges at the top of the tree, and there's a few people guarding those oranges and only throwing down orange peels to the bottom, right? Whether it's young people at the bottom or whether it's other people at the bottom, eventually there's going to cause an imbalance, and that tree's going to start shaking. So when you see things like, as we know in our community, mass shootings or whatever the case, a lot of things happening in our nightlife are just happening, crimes happening, that's coming from the imbalance. And so how we get that imbalance is by like genuinely like, yo, if you're sitting on resources or if you're getting resources, but you're not helping others for real, and you're hoarding resources, understand that you are playing a part in contributing to the imbalance in our communities, our village, our city. And so this is the accountability to say, we see you, whoever you are. I ain't calling nobody out directly on this one, but just know we see you. And it's about to be a change of the guard. So get ready for that, because our babies need oranges too to be strong and healthy. Our babies need resources too. In other words, our babies need to be able to, if there's money being given to organizations that will then be trusted with resources to give to the people, but the people still ain't seeing these resources.
It's a problem.
You already know, Stavante, it's gonna cost for a lot of folks gonna jump on desk encounters, because this generation, we just different.
Yeah, completely different. And I've said numerous times that we as a people, as a generation, are sick and tired of being sick and tired. I don't know how many times I have to say it. When it comes to us being respected and us doing this work, it's not like we went to school for this work. It's not like somebody's paying us hundreds of thousands in 401ks for this work. It's not like we're getting grants out the ass, sponsorships out the ass for this work. No, in no way, shape, or form. So when it comes to, being appreciated, being a part of this work, if we don't do this work, there's not a lot of people that will do it. So I think people need to understand that we get sick and tired of being sick and tired, because we know there's money out there. We know there's resources out there. We know, but at the same time, we're not seeing it in our communities. We're not seeing a distribution of any types of adequate resources and programs when it comes to housing in our communities. There's no reason a young man should be sleeping in his car for over a month. No reason. So I believe, and a lot of people know this, a lot of our viewers know this, California is the 5th or 6th largest economy in the world. We repeat this all the time to let you know that there's money out here. There's resources out here. It's just the way the resources are being trickled down is not coming to our people. It's not coming to our people. That's why he said he didn't want to call anybody out. But damn it, let us
get ready to.
Yeah, they
get ready.
It has to, because it has to be an accountability piece. Like I've said again, transparency without accountability means nothing. So Zion, we have you here, Zion. We can't forget you, can't leave you out. Zion, you're a businesswoman. You have employees. You've been in business for many, many, many years. You're on the Broadway district. And a lot of things that I've seen since I've known you for the last 3 or 4 years is just hard work, ambition, just going out there and getting out the mud. You know, you are the epitome of, I believe, self-made. I would, let everybody know, Zion is a self-made individual, and everyone's self-made. You don't have to be successful to admit it, but mostly only the successful will admit it.
Yeah.
So, Zion, being self-made, being in the Broadway district, doing all these free things in the community that you're doing, because a lot of business owners don't do anything unless it feeds their business, their pockets, their family. So for you to come outside of your lane, outside of what you do, to throw this amazing, immaculate, second annual Broadway International Festival, September 4th, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 16th, all the way down to 19th.
Yeah.
Family-friendly vendors, kids' games, all types of stuff. For you to be able to do that, but then come back to your restaurant that you work at and to see the homeless crisis, the homeless damn near run every business off of Broadway you could think of. For a matter of fact, if you go down Broadway long enough, right as you merge into the freeway, you will see a homeless shelter right next to a homeless encampment, which is crazy to me, which is so crazy to me, because you think that you create the shelter to get rid of the encampment, but instead they're neighbors. When you see the homelessness rising on the Broadway district, when you see Jamba Juice being forced to leave because all the homelessness, you see people hitting people in the middle of Broadway out of nowhere, taking their food, walking into your restaurant, scaring customers off. When you see this homeless and this mental health and this addiction crisis in our city, and you feel like that you're doing the best you can to be a resource through international festival. When you see the city's reaction to it, the way they're reacting to it, how does that make you feel as a business owner and as a resident of the city of Sacramento?
Oh, well, I mean, I can go on and on and on about that the whole day. So when it comes to homelessness, when it comes to community and all that, but like you were saying, how you even see how we have to fight every day at the restaurant. We're not against homelessness or whatever. We've been living with them. They are part of it now. But at the same time, I don't want to be blaming it on nobody, but I feel like the businesses, whether in Broadway or downtown, is becoming our responsibility to take care of homelessness, while our city and our state is making millions and billions of dollars. So, and instead of putting it to businesses like us, but we becoming responsible for the homelessness, for what's going on around the city. So I feel like our government is failing us, our city is failing us. There is so much money. The California made $100 billion surplus, is unheard of, but we still have housing problem. We still don't see in businesses putting that money into businesses like us, especially Black businesses. So what I feel is this would give us an opportunity to unite as a community. If we don't unite as a community and ask what is for our community, what is best for our community. So if we expect the city or the state to provide us with the fund, it's going to be hard. But at the same time, they don't give us the fund, but they want to solve the homeless problem that they caused, that they can fix. So I can go on and on about it, but we don't want to be negative. But what we can do is fix our own community. This is where we live in Sacramento. We are part of our, the community, regardless, all of us. So how do we support each other? How do we unite together and put the money into our community until we get our community rich and wealthy in financial and health and spiritual health and mental health, physical health and financial health? We're still gonna have that problem. But we gotta come together through Broadway International Festival, through Stephon Clark Sunday. Every Sunday we need that support. We need to unite through Paul with Kun. He's been advocating. We have Shona. We have so many community leaders, but we need support from the city, not just support, oh, we want to support you. We want you to put the money into us, into businesses and nonprofit, So we can make a difference. But the problem is they don't put the money and the fund into us, and but all the money goes into the rich and the corporates. By the time it gets to us, there's no money. So what we do is just ask the community to help us, even during this festival, is with community money. So for me, really, unity in the community is important. We don't have to wait for the city or for the government to come through for us. We can't do that anymore. That's why it's happening what we see on the street right now. None of them can come through. Broadway partnership, they've been there for 10, 20 years. Still, you see Broadway, you don't see no change. Still the same Broadway. I'm still making noise. The street is dirty. It's not my responsibility as a business person when they especially don't put the money into our businesses. So I think there's so much going on in our community, in our city, especially the city officials. They need to sit down and talk to us. What is it? What is it? We need some help. What money, instead of just doing it behind closed door. So there's so much going on, but as a community, though, we don't have that village anymore. So we got to build our community. It is so important to me that we build that so we can support each other.
And I think one of the ways we do build and support that community, honestly, is the Broadway International Festival.
Yes.
September 4th, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. from 16th to 19th. Vendors, kid zones, health and wellness, family friendly, entertainment performances.
Okay.
You know,
And you put that money into the community, back to the
money
community.
is bringing money into the community.
Yeah.
You know, I can go on and on about the homeless crisis here, the Broadway International Festival, all the great things that you're doing, all the wonderful things you're going to continue to do. But unfortunately, we only got to 8:30, and it's 8:22. But you said something I want to touch on, Kun, one more time.
Mhm.
I want Kun to touch on. You said something. You said that there's just not enough village anymore. There's no more village. That's what you said. There's no more village. It used to be the village coming out and the community coming out, and we know the problems.
Mhm.
No, everybody knows the problems. Damn it, what are the solutions, Kun? Because I think that's what we need. I've said numerous times, we need our own restoration and de-escalation tactical teams. Numerous times I've wanted to get our people together, but I understand that we have another war outside of this war. So, Kun, what is the solutions? What are the actionable items that it will take for our communities to thrive in a healthier manner,
Right.
where there's not a shooting outside the club every week? Or, I mean, I'm gonna let you take the floor.
Yeah, I think, and mind you, I don't have all the answers. I just always had a lot of questions, right? Much like the question that you just asked. Like, what is it going to take? And I think when we start asking that question, and not just being scholars of the problem, we know it's so. We know how many people were shot in the mass shooting, the tragic mass shooting off of K, in front of London. We know, we know about it. We know all of that, but do we know what about the nights that there was not, where there was harmony? What did it take for those nights where people got home safe? What did it take? I don't know, just using an example of that, right? Because it was one of the things mentioned. There's been nights where individuals who have a little bit of influence have been at the spot, at the club, standing outside, and while conflict is jumping off, just de-escalating, right? Just intervening like, hey, little bruh, hey, cousin, hey, yo, bruh, that's bad for business. Yo, hey, let's focus, let's have fun. Hey, knock that off. And then it worked and folks actually listen. And what that really is, that's accountability by the way of village, right? That's the same way it was back in the day when OGs would hold us accountable when we running around like, hey, or elders, hey, I'm gonna tell your mama, hey, don't be, when back in the day when they would whoop you and then call your parents and tell you that they just spanked you and then you get another one, right? We can continue to have that where we can bring that mentality back, but it is going to have to take us One thing we know it's going to take finances and resources because you're talking about people actually being a presence, right, in a nightclub or at an event, right? Especially when we're talking about the de-escalation tactical team, right? I know there's been times where you and I have just been in the space and we've redirected in situations. It's going to take folks who are connected with that population to be there and to be a presence and to step in there, big homie, OG, right? Authority and hold the youngsters, especially if they got influence, the ones that they have influence with, hold them accountable, right? And caring enough, being present enough, understanding the importance of like, yo, first of all, anytime anything happens, whether you pull the trigger or somebody else pull the trigger, we lose. Doesn't matter. Nobody, it's not the quickest one to the draw. We all lose. We all lose. And we saw that. We all saw the tears. We saw the hurt. We saw the pain. I was getting phone calls across the country from my family in fear that I was there like, yo, I know you like to go out. I know you out there. I know that's your city. Are you okay? Right? We all lost. Whether we lost sleep, whether we lost our peace, we all lose anytime somebody loses a life or anytime somebody almost loses a life based on lack of communication. So tangibly, actionable items. So programs the reason why I use poetry and spoken word as a platform and a vehicle to be able to help us communicate is for the sake of being able to teach the next generation to how to be able to process thoughts and to be able to have sound conversation, right, and communication during heightened moments, right, to be able and there's been times like even you and I, right, when we first met, if it wasn't for the fact that I took time to do work on myself, healing work on myself, when we met and you were in your grief and you cussed me out and threatened me, right, as you've done many people, and I'm talking to anybody who's judging my brother Stevante right now. Yeah, he cussed me out too. And as you can see, my screen is right next to his because I did the work on self 10, 12 years before I met him to make sure that when I come in contact with him, he cussed me out and threatened my life and tell me he's going to bring 300 people to come. I can be able to stand in that, accept it, but look at the situation for what it is. Hold on, he's hurt. Hold on. What he's saying, he ain't even talking to me. He's not even personal. He's not even directing the threat towards me. He's directing the threat towards those that cause harm to him.
Come on.
So now that I know what I'm dealing with, right, that wear your heart energy, that wear your heart way, I'm able to like, hold on, let me eye to eye, because this is a part of curriculum. Eye to eye.
Yes.
Heart to heart. Hand to hand. Let me make real contact with him and let him know. Let me help him see me. So he knows I'm not a threat, because right now everybody's a threat to him. But that came by the way of processing, right? Some of the stuff through the curriculum, Pain the Power program, processing my pain and my trauma. So I'm not, mind you, I didn't have folks threaten my life and then really try to take it. But if I didn't do my own work, I could have took that as, I could have got triggered and got into and felt like out in that moment I was in harm's way. But no. So actionable items is we all got to take responsibility for our own healing.
Yes.
There are those who have journeyed a little bit more, a little bit longer, maybe a few steps that can help walk us through those processes. But you got to be open to it. And the reality, once upon a time, I used to make it an offer. Now I'm saying, hey, it's a demand. You got to heal, because your lack of healing is causing more pain. We got to heal. I'm not asking no more.
Come on.
I'm saying, hey, bro, go sit down. Because very recently, when I got triggered by a situation that just took place, I'm not at liberty to share it because it's an open case. It's a civil case currently, and my attorney is handling it. But those that know. When the situation occurred, I was triggered for that hour. I was what y'all don't. I was in my version where y'all saw Stevante on the news. But in my version, because I was raised a little bit different, and so it was somebody y'all wouldn't have recognized him, because I was feeling that. But I had support system and folks that called and was like, hey, bro, I know you. I saw that look in your eye. I need you to sit down. I need you to get from outside. I love you. Right? It's those kind of things. And only because they journeyed enough with their own healing to be able to be strong enough, because I could have cussed them out and went off and threatened them too. But they loved me enough. And so there are some out here that are willing to be support systems.
Yes.
But we're not asking no more.
No.
Sit down, because you have to be still.
Yes.
We have programs for those that are fresh out. I ran I call it halfway home, but a transitional house for a year or some change for brothers that were fresh out of incarceration. And this is the thing. Now we need to, and it's not a need, it's not an option. When you get out, you need to have some real counseling, right? So we have partners. Shout out to my sister, Aisha Lewis, from A Different Path, right? Founder, CEO of A Different Path. We have those who are clinical, that are trained, that are educated in the ability to be able to help in areas of mental health. We have a whole squad. We've been building for a long time for the sake of the resources. Not asking from folks who are stingy, but really, and I think sis is on here, so shout out Aisha Lewis, and shout out A Different Path, a partner who that many times if I've called, she's been on the front lines, and one of her and somebody on her staff has been on the front lines, helping usher folks in, dealing with those who are high profile, whatever members they want to try to put any kind of classification on, but helping them heal, helping them process, helping them get that stuff out. And now, and I'm going to say it one more time, we're not asking. Yes. We're highly encouraging. And we're commanding and demanding that you take accountability and responsibility for your own healing. We all have been triggered. We all have been inflicted with trauma. We all have gone through a lot. But now is the time we heal. Actionable item, heal first, and then we build.
Let's go. Yeah. I love that. Actionable item, heal first, then we build. We are tired of asking. It's 8:31. I'd like to thank both of my guests for joining me. Zion, owner of Queen Sheba, founder of the Broadway International Festival.
Yes.
My business partner, I Am Sack Events, I Am Sack Foundation. My brother Kun, the poet, thank you so much. Those words, you just wrapped up Stefan Sunday right there, brother. That we didn't tie it. We need to pay him right now for that sermon right there, y'all. So everybody, if you would like to support Kun, and I want everybody that's watching via Facebook and Instagram to support our brother Kun, the poet. His cash app. Kun, what's your cash app? $
Kun, the poet, 1989.
$. Let me see if I got this right. $.
I got it right too.
Kun the poet.
Yeah, Kun the poet, 1989. Let me see.
1989.
Yeah, Kun the poet. So boom. Looks, I probably can't see it.
Okay. Let me see. Let me try to get that down there for the bottom.
Yeah, well,
Right that's Kun's cash app at the bottom. Kun the poet. 1989. Let's try to support our brother and send him 5, 10, 20, 50, 100. Some of you are rich, 1,000. Let's send our brother something to support our brother. I know me and Z are going to send something right now, just to send our support just for you being here. Anything helps when it comes to the activists that are helping us do this, work. Anything like you said, when it comes to healing and then building. Anything helps when it comes to the healing aspect then the building. You cannot help others if you do not help yourself. I've said that numerous and plenty and countless of times. You can't be there for nobody if you are not there for yourself. And a lot of people don't understand that this work takes a toll on your mental health. It takes a toll on your emotional health, your physical health, your financial health. This work is not fun. I wouldn't wish these shoes on my worst enemy. I try to make it look as pleasant as possible because I don't want to discourage the next generation for fighting for their community. I mean, you should be able to live well and do good for others.
Yeah.
Period. And I think the way that activists and advocates have been treated when they've been doing the work is disrespectful. It doesn't help get things done. It doesn't support the healing journey. It doesn't support the building journey. We cannot have a conversation about equity.
Let's go, bro. You better go ahead, Professor Clark. Dr. Clark.
We cannot. There's no way we can have a conversation on equity if we're not looking at each other as equals. That makes sense?
Yeah.
We can't. There's no way. If I'm still looking at this person based on geographical locale, if I'm saying, I'm not going to call Kun to support or whatever, I'm just going to call Kun. I need Kun. if my children is cutting up, if I need them at this school for this assembly because these gangs ain't getting together or whatnot. No, you should already be supporting this brother. So that way you don't have to just call him for when the problem happens. He could be there to prevent, and I could be there to prevent the problem from happening in the first place. But until we start having those listening and learning sessions where we're actually conducting ourselves in a series of panels and town hall style discussions with artists and activists and business owners and law enforcement officials and culturally competent therapists. You see how I said culturally competent therapists? Until we're having these listening and learning sessions, not only will people like Brittany be assaulted by people at elementary schools, not only will fathers like our brother Kwame have to deal with schools who don't care about our children, these dropout factors. Not only will continue to fight for our brothers who have been assassinated in our grandmother's backyard, but these types of atrocities, these senseless atrocities, will continue to happen for generations long after you and I have left this earth. And we don't want that. And that's what we're here for, to prevent that. But we need your help now when it comes to making sure that is a reality and actionable items. My brother Kun the Poet has been doing the work long before I stepped out in this field of activism. So I want you all to support him by donating to that Cash App, Kun the Poet 1989. If you have not gave him $1, $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, $25, $50, or $100, make sure you do it now, please. Because when you do that on Stephon Clark Sunday, we don't ask you for offering. We don't ask you for tithes. We don't ask you to come here and give money to build Stephon's house. No, even though we should be, but we don't ask you for that because we do this out of our heart. This is the heart work. This is not hard work. This is not smart work. It's hard work. So in the way we commemorate lives and legacies is supporting the others that we know that are doing the hard work. And Kun, I can vouch for personally, has been doing the hard work
every day.
Every day. And
I love you. I appreciate y'all.
I have a comment.
Everybody else?
Yeah. But it's, and it has to be actionable items at the end of the day. We know, like you said, we know the problems, but what are the solutions? What are our actionable items? And like I said, the listening and learning sessions will be great. And our sister just said, Miss Aisha, she said prevention versus intervention. So thank you all for the viewers on the Instagram and the YouTube and the Facebook. I thank my special guest, Kun the Poet. I thank my special guest, Zion Tedesi. I want you guys to all sign up for that Broadway International Festival. If you guys are not vendors, go become a vendor for that. Sign up at Broadway, intlfestival.com, and go make sure September 4th, 2022 this year, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., you are there. We are still accepting vendors. Vendors, sign up still. Need that whole vendors list completely filled up, So thank you all to my guests for joining me, Kun and Zion. Thank you all. I appreciate you guys. God bless you both. Thank you for joining me for Stephon Clark Sunday. I'm going to wrap up this broadcast with my Sack 6 and whatnot. So thank you all. And you guys have a blessed day. And I'll contact you when I'm done with this. All right. So thank you guys. So now back to the rest of America and the rest of the world. You guys need to understand that this fight is not just for me and my brother. It is for you and your brother and your sister, your auntie, your grandmama, and everybody else. I'm not in here for Stephon Clark. I don't do this Stephon Clark Sunday for me. I'm out here rushing to make sure I deliver this message for prevention. That's why we came up with the Sack 6. Sack 6 are my actionable items. What are yours? Everybody likes to talk about the problem. I have my actionable items. I created my Sack 6. I want you to create a Sack 6. I want you to have recommendations. I want you to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. It shouldn't take me having to come here every Sunday, having to bring cases to the forefront, such as Brittany being assaulted by the principal while she picked up her 6-year-old daughter from Woodard Ranch Elementary School, and this black man that was the principal. Keep in mind that after he assaulted her, he tried to drive off in her car. He tried to steal her vehicle. Huh? How would you feel? You have gang shootings almost every week on 10th and K Street. No clubs are getting shut down. No clubs are getting fined. Nobody is being held accountable. And I'm still outside. I'm not running, or hiding, jucking, or jiving. or shucking or jiving, however they say it. I'm outside with the people. I'm outside with the community because I'm not afraid. And I'm not going to entertain the fact of people going out to downtown when they're not actionable items to prevent these shootings from happening. I'm not going to encourage anybody to go rent a booth at any of these clubs downtown when I'm not sure about the safety and the security of my people. There is no excuse. People tell me, well, Mr. Clark, you have to understand that, everybody been in the house for a couple of years. People are just now coming outside. Oh, Mr. Clark, you have to understand that during COVID, all these checks came in and people started getting money because now they're buying these weapons. Almost like, no. I'm not going to play these games with y'all. Fathers, take your ass out there. Community leaders should not be the only ones out there. I'm not a community leader. I'm not leading shit in the community. But my brothers, I am the communications director for my brother, Stephon Clark. Period. EOD. End of discussion. I was thrown into this. And through Stephon, I fight for a community. I fight for a better tomorrow. I fight for families that have been impacted by not just police and community. But I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. This next generation, they are not marching for the next 30 to 100 years. I can guarantee you that. What they might be looting, they're going to be looting, running the Macy's and all that because, in America, there's not much you can attack but these corporations. That's why you see the Walgreens and all that being destroyed in Ferguson when these riots and protests happen. You see a lot of the Walgreens and the Walmarts and the Rite Aids because these are the only corporations that these people have access to actually hurt and do something to. And then once they do these to these food deserts and these food deserts and these Rite Aids or Walgreens, whatever, they've destroyed the only grocery store that they had in that community. You look at Top Supermarket in Buffalo, New York, where that mass shooting was. They're planning on opening that supermarket. Imagine how traumatic it is going to be on the re-grand opening of that supermarket. And you guys, yes, indeed, slow progress is better than no progress. But in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., justice delayed is justice denied. You look at Carol Ann Bryant, the lady who was who got Emmett Till assassinated. She is still ripping and running these streets. Still. Look at George Zimmerman. Neighborhood Watch. Still ripping and running these streets. No accountability. You look at Terrence Mercado and Gietta Robinette. One cop was a black cop. And this is why I've always said, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Still ripping and running through grandmother's backyards. And we as a people rather talk about, Stevante the crazy brother. This hasn't been done. This needs to get done. Black people can't get along. No. We need to come together for the actionable items. What are your actionable items? We know the problems. What are your solutions? Mine's informing and educating on policy and legislative change. Bridging the gap between community and community so that way we can have the dialogue with law enforcement to say, hey, if you don't want to police our communities, we as a community got our shit together enough to say, we don't want you, we don't need you, get the hell out. But I'm the crazy brother. I don't know shit, right? Y'all know everything. I have a few actionable items. Hopefully they prevent Stephon's from ever happening again. Have I lost hope? Yes. Am I losing hope? Yes. Do I understand why Dr. King said his dream is slowly becoming into a nightmare? Yes. I get it. That's why we created the SAC 6. Bridge the gap between law enforcement and at-risk communities. But first, bridge the gap between community and community. Inform and educate on policy and legislative change. Provide resources and healing spaces. Commemorate lives and legacies in a positive light so we don't have to be here. Receive recommendations from you, the people, on how to prevent Stephon's, Oscars, Brown, and Sanders from happening again. And spreading the gospel of love. John 15:12 says, love each other as I loved you. Skip down in John 15:18. He said, if the world hates you for it, no, they hated me long before they ever hated you. Everybody love everybody. Of course, that's my story. And of course, I'm sticking to it. Passion without the direction is chaos. Passion with direction. The passion with direction. That, my friend, that, my brothers, that, my sisters, that is purpose. Passion without direction is chaos. Passion with direction is purpose. Elephants do not swat flies. Giraffes do not respond at the levels of turtles. And you cannot turn a chicken into an eagle. Thank you for joining me for this week's special edition of Stephon Clark Sunday. Remember, everybody love everybody. Broadway International Festival, September 4th. It's a movement, not a moment.